It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
It takes 10 minutes.
What does?
Getting the camera to be recognized by the phone. Only when I have VIPs in the car, Tom.
Please. VIP my ass.
All right, I'm going to read a quick advertiser message, then I'm going to introduce you, then we're going to talk about the music business.
Great.
Yeah, great. This is Car Con Carne, a Q101 podcast, and Car Con Carne is sponsored by Easy Automation, easy-automation.net. Transform your living space with cutting-edge home automation. And when I say living space, it also goes for your business. Wherever you are, you can transform it with cutting-edge home automation. Experience seamless control over audio, video, lighting, climate, security, and more. Embrace the future of smart living. Your home, your rules, motherfucker. Easy Automation. You got to call my guy Dan for more information, 630-730-3728, or visit him on the web, easy-automation.net. I swear he's okay with me saying that. I know what you're thinking, Tom Schmall.
You know what I'm thinking.
I know what you're thinking. So, what is the state of the music business in 2024? I don't know, so I brought a friend with me. Tom Schmall is a promotion, marketing, and artist development specialist for Red Light Management. He's led promotion and marketing for record companies like Interscope and Maverick, and he cut his teeth on independent promotion under Jeff McClusky. He's seen and done some stuff. He is in it day in, day out, 24/7. Who better to ask than my pal, Tom Schmall? Tom, thank you for doing this. We're at Johnny's Beef.
It's amazing. As soon as you said it, I was in. I was like, done. I'm in.
It's like the siren song leading sailors to their doom. I say Johnny's Beef, Tom Schmall appears in Elmwood Park on North Avenue.
Like what time and what day? I'm in.
Here's the thing. I know better. I've been here a million times. I've done a million podcasts here. I know better than to even try to eat Johnny's Beef while recording a podcast, Tom. You're making the best of your Italian beef, which you ordered dipped, which I thought was courageous for the car.
It's working, though, barely, but it's working.
I did the combo, which is really a wonderful, wonderful sandwich. There is no way on God's green earth I can eat this in the car without making a mess. I tucked napkins into my shirt, thinking that's going to get the job done. But, I mean, it's like a 4-pound sandwich.
It's massive. It is massive.
So my secret, Tom, I'm going to ask you questions and then quietly move to the left and eat as you answer them.
Go ahead, man.
Okay. Let's talk about the music business. Now, we've known each other for decades at this point, which seems crazy to say. I met you through the music industry. You're still standing. You're still doing the thing. I guess let's talk about your role right now. Let's talk about your role as a manager for Red Light. I have a lot of musicians who watch and or listen to this show. When does an artist need a manager, I guess is the question. Thinking about it from the most grassroots local music level, when do they have to raise their hand and say, I need help with this?
You know, it's a tough question because it's like it depends on where they're at in their development in terms of, I mean, there's so much that an artist can do these days on their own. And it's a matter of, when things start getting busy enough or there's so much happening in terms of things that have to be done and, the workload to where it gets in the way of the creative process. At that point in time, I think you need to reach out, and it could be, a best friend or someone, someone just to help you with all the stuff that's non-creative in terms of, musically speaking, I
think the hardest part for musicians is the idea of sharing the wealth, because the wealth isn't there up front.
Well, no, but here's the thing, right? I mean, listen, this comes up all the time. It's like, would you rather make, a little money or okay money and have it all to yourself, or would you rather have the opportunity to make a lot of money and have a broadened career and you don't get all the money? It's like, it's real simple. And it's not hard. And the thing is, it's like at some point in time there's too much work and things will get missed. You have to have a team. You have to have a team around you. And I'm not saying that it's got to be a massive management company. It's got to be, a baller agent. I mean, those things are great, but it's like, but you have to have help because otherwise you get lost. You get lost in all the details and it sneaks up on you quick if things are happening, right? So it's a lot of work and it's important.
Now, when we first met, There was a blueprint. There was a roadmap for an independent artist. We're going to get to a certain level. We're going to be able to sell out certain size rooms. We're going to get attention, and then we're going to get a record company deal. We're going to get on a major label. That's not the trajectory anymore, but I don't know if there is a clear-cut path for artists in the present day.
There isn't. And it's like you see all these things online, like all these people who have these, take this course and we'll, show you how to self-manage yourself or how to be an artist and all this stuff. And the reality of it is, artists, in my opinion, artists just have to start. You just have to start. Don't, if you sit there and try to educate yourself about everything, there's too much to know, and a lot of it might not even apply in your case. So it's like you just have to do shit. You got to start. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I can swear, right?
Yeah, I said motherfucker.
I know. I watch this all the time. I should know that. So you just have to start. Stay focused and just do shit. And what will happen is things will start to happen, right? Like you'll start meeting more people. Things will, you'll start, meeting other musicians and other people in the industry. But you just have to start and do stuff. It's like you start there and then from there you can grow, But you have to start. If you sit there and try to educate yourself, you'll be doing it for fucking years,
Let's take it back to management. Red Light manages lots of artists, big and small, and I mean a lot of artists we're familiar with, artists like the Dave Matthews Band or Smashing Pumpkins. Can I bring things down to the local grassroots, regional Chicago level for a case study?
Absolutely.
Bridget Calls Me Baby.
Yep.
Is one of the bands. Different profile, stage of career from a lot of the higher profile acts that your team manages. Tell me about their progress. Like, what's it like elevating them and helping them break?
Well, it's interesting because when they were first brought in, because the band was from Chicago and Wes was originally from a small town in Texas, the lead singer, Phil Costello was like a legendary manager, mm-hmm. and he ran Capitol Records. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time, and he's their manager, and it was brought to him into Red Light. And he'd call me up one day and said, "Hey, I got this band, and you have to come out and see him." I think it was a Monday night in the middle of winter, at the Empty Bottle or something. It was like 11 o'clock at night. It was a weird thing. So of course I went, and I went out there, and there was Phil standing in the bar, and the band was back in the green room. I didn't even meet the band at that time, and they had come out, and it was on, like, as soon as they started, right away, like the whole room, anyone who was in the room was like now focused on what was happening. And actually I'd seen them once before because they opened up for Inhaler I think it's Subterranean for like a Lala after show or something, or pre-show before that. So I had seen them there first, and it was the same, but it was the same thing. It was like, hey, you have to see this band, and they came out and they owned the room, and you knew there was something that was there and something that was special, and it was just a matter of what are the next steps, because there was nothing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there were songs that were recorded, there was a name, and there was a logo, and that was it basically in the band. So but it just you just start doing the work, right? You start putting it out there, you start creating awareness, building communities, you start telling everyone you know about them. I mean, it just, whether it's in radio or friends or family or agents, or you just keep, just keep pushing and promoting and talking and having discussions, and before you know it, people are buying in, jumping in.
And that's put you on the spot, because again, you're in this 24/7. Yeah. You mentioned radio.
Yeah.
When we first met, radio was a critical part, especially in the alternative world, to breaking an artist.
Right.
What's radio's role in the present day? It's different.
It's completely different. It's completely different than it was back in the day. It's funny because there's always this like discussion about radio's demise, right? It's like, oh, radio doesn't mean anything, or radio is not important, and it's just not the case. It is just not the case. We have a roster on the ATO side and through Red Light, and a lot of these bands are getting started through radio, whether it's non-com radio or AAA radio, and it's people forget that when you have a song on the radio, like when it comes to streaming, right? You have to find this. You have to find the artist, find the songs. People tell me, all these streams. But when it's on the radio, it's like you have an automatic audience, mm-hmm. like automatically. And the bigger the market, the bigger the audience. So it's.
It probably takes longer though for that audience to hear the song than it did back in the day. I don't think back let's say 1999,
Right.
radio was more of a shared experience. Everyone was listening at exactly 11:52 on a Friday night. We all heard that song at the same time. It takes longer for those impressions to take hold.
Absolutely. However, airplay is as soon as we get airplay, especially in markets like Chicago and Minneapolis, and and a lot of markets, smaller, big and small, right away. If something connects and it's on the radio, it affects ticket sales, it affects streaming, it affects. We see jumps in social media. It's like so it happened. It's happening. It's still happening, and it's just like you said, it's different. But yeah, it's like It has a big impact if you're the right artist and and you're doing all the other stuff, all the other things.
I'm sure you hear this question all the time, and I know there's not a good answer for it, but I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
A question on the mind of, I'm sure, a lot of independent artists watching or listening. How come some shitty bands break and other really good bands never make it past the starting block? Like, what? How does that happen? What kind of unjust world are we living in? Bad
luck, bad timing. It sounds crazy, but it's like, there are some artists that I've seen that are super talented, and they work their asses off. It's nonstop, and they just can't get a break. It just doesn't happen. And then you have someone who just shows up, and for whatever reason, it's something happens, whether it's a viral moment on TikTok or they end up, somehow getting a song into a TV show or whatever, and that's the end. It's gone. It's just like they're off and running. So it sounds discouraging, right? Because you're an artist, you're like, well, if it's all luck based, it's like it's not all luck based, but that's that's the truth of the matter. Especially when like back when I was in Interscope, we had so many great bands and big records, and it was so much fun. But for every big record we had, big act we had a dozen that got signed and were ready to live their dreams, and a lot of them really good and never saw the light of day. It just what it is, what it was. It's tough. It's tough.
In the present day,
yeah,
the world is digital. No kidding. I'm recording this on a digital camera and a digital hard drive recorder. That said, do albums even matter anymore? Or are we still in this world of a la carte single consumption?
Well, it's all about how it's being presented, right? You go on, if you're on Spotify, it's like the first thing you look up when you're on Spotify is, their top tracks. It's the very first thing you see at the top of an artist's profile. Albums, however, I think are starting to make a comeback because I've got a son who's in college, and he buys vinyl records. He likes vinyl records, and he's listening to albums by Queen now and ELO, and he's going back and finding all these old records, and it's just a matter of an artist actually making albums.
I feel like artists want to do that.
They do.
They want to have this complete vision of 7 to 10 songs.
Yep. It's just it's a slow comeback, but I think that it all comes down to how the consumers consume the music. It's how they take it in, and the attention span right now is so short. It's just like,
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, what? Yeah, it's insane. It's like it's hard. It's like so.
You talked about radio and how radio can move the needle.
Yep.
One thing I keep coming back to as I talk to artists and people in the industry is the need for curation. Back in the day, radio was really the sole source of curating new music. What does curation look like in the present day? Because when you log on to Spotify, like you said, here are the top tracks. It feels very scattershot, and almost with all this music available, it feels hard to find the stuff you actually like.
That, in my opinion, is one of the hardest things right now. It's one of the most discouraging things too. Not discouraging, but it's like that's a problem that needs to be fixed. Is how people can actually discover. There's so much music out there, so much great music out there too that's never going to get heard. Just because there's like 100 or a couple 100,000 new songs every day. It's something banana being released. And now with AI, right?
Yeah.
Now you have these AI companies that are you could go sign up for an account, make a song, in an afternoon and put it up on the DSPs, and you get you can monetize it. It's like, so there's
digital service providers for those.
Oh, sorry, yeah, DSPs, and it's just clogging up the network even more. But here's the thing though, it's happening everywhere, and it's just some people just don't know about it. Look at someone like Zach Bryan, for instance, right? He was an independent artist, and he was streaming like crazy. He found he found success through YouTube and through, you know, all these platforms, and all on his own. Like, there was no label involved or anything at the time. And most people didn't even know who he was until something in the orange, you know, live videos started appearing on every other feed and every other, you know, social media network there was. You know, it's like, it was all over Instagram and Twitter and everywhere else. And he ended up, you know, he's part of Warner Brothers now, but it's a deal in which, from what I'm to understand, that he controls. It was his way. They came to him and he said, "This is what I want to do," and he said, "Great, here's an album with, you know, 80 songs on it. You know, put it out." So it happens, and there's a lot of artists like that out there. So, you know, it's a really tough question to answer, but, you know, there's no one answer. It's just you just gotta start.
Let's talk about trends.
Yep.
I think it's impossible to predict where things are going because it's so hard to get a groundswell of fandom in the present day.
It is impossible. Like back when I first knew you and you were in radio and I was, you know, with Maverick or Interscope or at the time, it was like you always kind of knew like things were going to come back around, right?
Yeah.
It was like rock bands. Rock bands were massive. Then it kind of went to the cycle, and then it was dance stuff, and then it was like, you know, singer-songwriter, and cycles just kind of came around, and you just kind of knew like it was on the horizon to come back. Now it's like scattershot, right? It's like it's everywhere, and it's you know, and you don't know where it's going to come from or why.
What would you say is one of the more common mistakes an up-and-comer might make? Is it inaction? Is it...
Absolutely. I mean, it's like not only inaction, but it's so hard to like shut out the noise. There's so much noise, right? I mean,
point.
you're like, you know, I hear from artists all the time that are either comparing themselves to other artists, or they're watching what's, you know, this person is doing, and how come I can't do that, and how come, you know, they're doing this, and, you know, and we're not. I mean, just trying to find solutions, and it's just like they spend so much time, you know, on everything else and everyone else that they don't focus on what they're doing. You know, it's like fucking make some music. You know what I mean? Like, go with your heart. Like, you know what I mean? It's like do what you feel is right for you, and just make the music, and it'll come to you. It'll come. You know.
I'm sure, as I have in radio and media in general, I'm sure you have seen plenty of people who you came up with who are no longer in the industry.
Yeah.
Who've moved on to different careers, whether voluntarily or being wished well in their future endeavors. What keeps you in this business?
Well, I've been fortunate enough to be able to stay. I'm born and raised in Chicago, so I've been fortunate enough to be able to stay in Chicago my whole career, which has been amazing in itself. And I'm a fan first. I love everything about it. I love the music. I love the process. I love the artist. I love the struggle. I love the I love it all. Confrontation. Do you really? Highs, I'm telling you, it's like
the gamesmanship.
Absolutely. It's like, you know what? The worst thing that I think someone can tell an artist is, or someone can, you know, an opinion that someone can have about an artist is like, you know, it's okay, and just kind of nonchalant. I would rather have someone can say, you know what, this sucks. I'm not dealing with this. This is no good. Because then at least you know, like, okay, you know what? Now I know like where they stand.
Yeah.
And what I have to do.
Passivity is
it's the worst. Mm-hmm. The absolute worst. So, you know, and I'm telling you, it is, the highs are highs, the lows are lows. The successes are, you know, just to be part of it and see it happen for artists is just, I mean, there's nothing like it, you know, and the lows sometimes are heartbreaking, you know. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It's like, you know, but I love everything about it.
Is it safe to say, especially dealing on the management side of things, there is no way to prepare you for the variety of things you face in managing an artist? The calls that come at 3:00 in the morning.
I mean, you would never begin to imagine the things that these managers have to go through sometimes, and what they have to deal with. And a lot of times it's not even their, you know, it has nothing to do with the artist. It has to do with, you know, whether it's, you know, travel schedules or, I mean, the craziest shit you could possibly imagine at the worst times. It happens, and it's like, you know what? You have to be prepared for it as a manager, and, you know, you kind of have to have like this fearless nature as well, because, I mean, sometimes shit's going to get heavy, and you just got to, you know, you just got to be able to dive in and deal with it. You know what I mean? So, because you're literally the, you know, the first call that gets made. A manager for an artist is like, you're the first call, and it's, you know, fix it.
All right, making it more consumer focused. Yep. As a music fan, as we've established you were a music fan, what were some shows that were life-changing for you? Because you've seen more concerts than I can even fathom.
I mean, I've seen so many like unique special shows. Prince at the Metro did an after show.
Like 3 a.m?
Yeah, I mean, literally went on at 3 a.m. It was the middle of summer. It was unbelievable. 9 Inch Nails back in the day never did any kind of like unplugged sessions or any kind of like small shows, and for whatever reason they decided to do one for Q101.
I was there. I think you and I worked on putting that together. It was at Chicago Recording Company. Yeah,
and that was like. It was wild, but it was like it's the first time that it ever happened. It was unbelievable. It was like wild, right? I
got my 12-inch of Head Like a Hole signed by Trent that day.
Oh yeah, it was, and I remember people being in the room and just being like, they had candles everywhere, the whole 9 yards, and I think they thought they were the biggest 9 Inch Nails fans, and they got in there, and when you're in that studio, it's
I think quiet. I emceed that. In fact, I know I emceed that one.
I have it on CD somewhere.
Okay, I want it.
Okay, I'll have to find it. I literally have it on CD somewhere.
I'm pretty sure I introduced it by saying it comes down to this, which of course is a 9 Inch Nails lyric. I don't know why I remember that. That was like 99 or 2000, but yes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so I've seen a lot of those things, that were like, that you just don't see anywhere else,
That's awesome. And you just reminded me, one of radio's fatal flaws is the fact that back in the day, and to this day, they've never really had archivists collecting the content. When you say, "Oh, I have that 9 Inch Nails session," cool. Q101 doesn't. Like when I worked at the Loop and they wanted to do something for the 40th anniversary, no one has archives. Like, good luck finding something from Steve Dahl or whatever. They don't exist.
It's crazy. Do you know what I just found? I just found a cassette tape, because that's what they put it on. Eminem's the EP came out, and he was in Chicago.
So you were at Interscope when My Name Is.
Yes.
You were working that. Okay.
And they wanted to get him into B96 or whatever time, and no one would touch it. They wouldn't touch him because it was insane. It was crazy, right? So, but he was in Chicago because he was getting. I think they flew someone in to get him an expedited. A passport. So Chicago was like, come to Chicago, So they flew in someone from International and had him get in line at 5 a.m, whatever, and like, hey, he's there, let's get him. And he also did an in-store that day later on at Tower Records in Schaumburg at the time. Actually in Bloomingdale, that is like no longer there. But anyway, so I started making some calls, and Mancow.
I remember.
Mancow said, I want him. I'll have him on. And it was insanity from the minute. It was a circus the minute Eminem walked in there. And I have I didn't even know I had it. I have the whole thing on cassette.
That's amazing.
So I
remember that.
It was, Eminem would not stop. It just kept going and going. And Kyle kept, would ask questions, and he would like chime. It was unbelievable, and it was a complete circus, and it was amazing.
Mancow's show is a complete circus, and then you layer Eminem on top of it.
Yeah. And he, and Kyle was trying to be Kyle, and Eminem would just like, say the craziest shit, and Kyle would be like, well, I don't, now what, like, okay, like, and Emmett, he was just like, they were like going back and forth, and it was just, I just remember being in there and like out like in the hall just pacing, thinking, oh my God, like, this is not going to end well for somebody. So, but it was great.
I love doing interviews like this. Like, there's no time-sensitive content here. We're just talking about shit we're excited about. I love doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
But we're going to stop talking because we both realized early on we can't eat these sandwiches and talk at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
So we're going to kill the camera out of respect for the people watching. They don't need to see this. And we're going to wrap it up. Tom, thank you for I think this was super informative and interesting. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, it was a little. I just was like talking out of my ass, but I hope it's but like it's just.
These are perspectives we don't get.
Yeah.
As fans, as people who are music adjacent, we don't get these perspectives. So I thought it was super helpful.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, man. It was a lot of fun, and I listen all the time, and I've known you a long time. This is great.
Yeah.